My life started with a lot of adversity. My uncle used to throw us down the stairs, kick us down the stairs, handcuffs, put us in the corner. You can see strips of soap. Just remember just all these horrific things in first grade, going through this and knowing that I don't know when this would ever stop. You know, this went on every day after school when my mom went to work, and didn't know a way out. Had to climb my way out of this, and thinking the only way out is to somehow, some way, get my mom to have me move back with my dad. And she already told me that that wasn't going to happen. And so I started acting out in anger, and I had a lot of this anger inside of me. It got so bad that, you know, I lit her couch on fire, lighter fluid, and ended up burning some of the wall. And our next door neighbors came through and got us out of the complex. At that time, she called my dad, and she said, "You're gonna have to come get your son. Can't control him. He's uncontrollable." And at that time, my dad came down the next morning. He was there.
When I first got Derek at San Diego, he was breaking a lot of windows, burning the couch. So the mom got really mad and told me to take him with me.
I mean, we lived in probably a 1,400 square foot house with 13 people. Me, my brother, my dad shared like a 10 by 10 room. And we had a sign-up sheet for showering in the morning.
I remember all the people being at the house all the time, and we would go in, and it was just everybody was everywhere. And I didn't know if that was normal.
We only had two bathrooms, one with the master bedroom for my dad. We only had one bathroom, so it was pretty tough.
That was a crazy place. I mean, it was fun because there were so many grandkids. I'm number 16 for the grandkids, and there's way more after me.
People that I was around, the influences, even my peers around me were arrested, thrown in juvenile hall. I had friends that were shot and killed, gang violence, and just the neighborhoods that we lived in were tough.
My name is Vincent Fowler. I was an above average athlete that was hurt. I got hurt, and at the time in my community, Seaside, California, it was very easy to get into the narcotics. Selling drugs, using drugs, whatever you wanted to do, it was very accessible because there were so many people doing it. And I allowed my foundation to slip. I became a drug dealer. A couple of guys tried to rob me, and I ultimately murdered one. I went to prison for almost 24 years, and by the grace of God, I was let out.
I think that Derek didn't go the route of gangs and drugs, as he could have definitely fell into being with our older cousins and stuff like that.
The Lord really had his hand upon my life and being able to escape out of a lot of situations where most kids wouldn't be able to.
His escape was the sports. He was athletic in basketball, tennis, but tennis especially.
Derek saw me playing tennis at Millbrook, and he wanted to get into tennis. So I got him 2 rackets.
I couldn't wait for him to get off of work, and I would wait for him to just hit a few balls before he would go play his match.
We grew up in a tennis club called Meadowbrook, which was a very cool place to hang. It would remind you of like a place like Cheers, where you never wanted to leave. Going there was you had to pass the projects.
I remember a time when nobody wanted to, walk past the projects. You had to be on a bike or running because something was going on in each parking lot.
Well, Derek was that little kid that used to come around here watching people play tennis. And then he decided he wanted to play, so he crawled under the fence and he hung around.
And he got pretty good, and he started getting ranked number 1 in the 11 years old. He got ranked number 2 in the 12. Then when he was 14, he was ranked number 14 in the national.
He was just a little greenhorn running around, endless energy, and but I really, because his dad was so good and it was a tennis family, he just kind of worked that whole legacy and just got better and better until he was pretty much untouchable as far as I was concerned.
When he played tennis, that's what we wanted to do. We wanted to, be that next generation in line to carry that on. But no one was as good as Derek in tennis.
We'd see them in the newspaper and on television. They'd interview him. But we knew that because Rudy was on such a fixed income that many times during those events he was sleeping in the car at night.
We had to live off Shell gas station cards. Not your typical way of tennis players playing in tournaments. I remember showering inside country clubs the morning of my match. While I was in college at San Jose State, I would come home quite a bit, probably once or twice a month, and I'd go to church. I was introduced to going to Calvary Chapel on Monterey Peninsula, and on one weekend I went up and received an altar call. I accepted the Lord. My heart was right, but just fell back and there was no accountability. There was nothing else to. I wanted to see the Lord on weekends only. You know what I mean? And at that time, I wanted something different. I would go out and play some of these professional tournaments, even when I was in college, but just no money, no funds. We were always struggling financially, and I wanted to finally just have some stability.
I think Derek's perspective was a little different because growing up he didn't have much. So once he had the capability to have those things that he never had when he was younger, he went full extreme.
Feeling that, I want to start new. I wanted to go somewhere new, fresh, somewhere I can start a new beginning. And drove out to Vegas with no funds at all, and packed up my '86 Grand Am with all the clothes in the back and drove over to Vegas, 8-hour trip, and stayed in the parking lot. Had a job interview the next morning at Club Sport, got that job interview, and my whole mindset was to start a career, start a legacy, basic of becoming rich. That was my goal.
We started making a lot of money, something that neither one of us was really used to, and unfortunately with the money came a lot of worldliness in both of our lives. Going out, drinking, partying.
Years after, just wandering and building up a great, lifestyle for myself and for my wife and our kids, but it shortly was just emptiness.
In the mixture of everything happening in our lives, with the money and the partying and going out, Derek and I started to grow apart. You're gonna have to come.
I just spent years of chasing after and reaching a high pinnacle until the Lord really smacked me down and to get me back to the root of my Christian walk. And it took stripping everything away from me to realize what was really important.
And unfortunately, at the time, Derek didn't feel that he needed to have a job, and I'll explain why in a second. Because he had a greater vision that was from the Lord, and he had received a 6-figure income job opportunity, and he had turned it down, which even made me more angry, because here we are struggling to put food on the table, and you're offered this job and you turn it down. But I didn't know the work that the Lord was doing in his life.
He'd been broken, and he was beginning a new season in his life that the Lord had ordained for just this time. And the Lord had brought him through harsh circumstances to a place of complete reliance upon him.
He had invited me to church one Sunday, and I agreed to go because I felt a part of me was missing, and that was the Lord. So I went, and as we were walking into the church, he's like saying hello to all these people, and I was just like shocked, 'cause I'm like, how does he know all of these people here? And at that time, he had told me that he had been going to church for the past 6 months, because he would disappear on Wednesdays and Sundays. I had no clue what he was doing.
Derek's heart is with kids. He came to me before the CrossFit days and shared his heart and his testimony and his heart for wanting to reach youth.
Having just a driven passion and a purpose to able to give back to kids that came from single family homes. So that drove us, my wife and I, to start a nonprofit called Exposing Kids to Greatness. And it's a one-on-one mentorship that we mentor motherless and fatherless kids.
Exposing Kids to Greatness is truly a program not just to mentor kids, but it's about giving kids hope, giving them a future, knowing that somebody actually cares about them and wants to pour into their lives.
There are so many things right now that are leading these children to early graves, to prison. It's so difficult to make good decisions when even your parents aren't making healthy decisions. But there is help.
Derek, through his relationship with his Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, has put together this amazing work that is touching so many lives.
And it's because I see myself in these kids, and I see by just someone bringing them alongside, someone just believing them, someone that just to exhort them and lift them up, they too can see the greatness of what God wants to do in their life.
And I'm so grateful that there's good people in the world that are trying to make a difference, to carve out a good niche and a safe place for kids.
One day, I remember it very, very well. Derek walked up to me and all he said was something very simple. He said, I just want you to focus on 2 words. He goes, I'll give you a hint. And those 2 words are CrossFit. And I thought, CrossFit is one of the strangest things I've ever heard. But I immediately knew, knowing Derek the way that I knew him at that point, that he had done research on something called CrossFit. And again, being a pastor, I'm thinking, how does this have to do with the cross? And how does this fit?
And through CrossFit, I thought that this would be a great vehicle for kids to see the potential in their lives, like I did in sports, and be able to see what sports, overcome adversity through sports. And anyone who's played any kind of sport know that you have to overcome through practicing, by training, by doing things that you don't like to do, by having a coach to exert you. And CrossFit just had the perfect model for us to find that deep down dig for you to push on. In CrossFit, you may see a person that doesn't look like they maybe have can do anything in a workout, but then they get into the water and like they're blowing past you. And I believe that's the same thing in our spiritual walk. It's the same thing the way we walk outside of these 4 walls. When there's people in life that look like they have everything together. They have all the good things and they say the right things, but they're crumbling inside. And then you have the person that doesn't look like much, but their heart's huge. The vision, the passion for people is big. And we're about people, we're about others. We're about serving others. Our name is CrossFit to Serve, and our mission statement, the action that we stand behind, is becoming fit to serve others. So we get out into the community. We'll go down and serve in the homeless downtown outreach, or we'll run a 5K together to benefit a good cause. And so our community at our box is driven behind transforming our lives from the inside out. And we have so many awesome testimonies where people come in and get to share of how CrossFit has made just a huge difference in their lives. I'm a strong believer that we all need mentors in our lives. We all need a role model. We all need someone to bounce things off of, and accountability in our lives. So showing these kids that they do have someone that's going to believe in their dreams.
It's okay to ask for help. It doesn't make you less of a person. It doesn't make you less of a woman, less of a man, less of a child to ask for help, because there's people that want to help you. There are so many people that care about you. There are so many people that care about where your life is going. We grew up in the same streets. We hung out on the same blocks. We've done the same things. But you made different choices. And I'm so proud of you for your choice in God to give back. Because of forgiveness in God, we're sitting here right across from each other. I really respect and appreciate that.
God tries to get our attention in many different ways. He's a God that doesn't give up, and I'm so thankful that He is. He pursues us and tightens down the screws, so to speak, on our lives until He finally does get our attention. We come to realize that in and of our own strength and in our own efforts, we're going to smash up against walls in one way or another over and over and over again. And it's not until we finally learn to surrender our will unto our Maker. It is only by building our lives upon the foundation of Jesus Christ that true success is found.